Welcome to each and all to your time to focus with your Women's Fund Miami-Dade. This is always about you. This is always your Women's Fund. I'm going to say this is especially about you if you are female or identify as female, or if you work particularly with a population of people who identify as female. This is our time to focus on our financial selves. And this is just an hour. It's going to fly by. So we ask you to please fully engage. That includes saying hello and good morning and who you are and anything else you want to say in the chat. This is your village square. Please know it and own it. And I'm gonna go on from there, and I'm gonna say that we couldn't do any of this without you. And we really couldn't do any of this without our phenomenal board, a break a sweat, brilliant board who really cares about the big picture of putting a gender lens on everything in Miami-Dade County until we get it right. We could not, go ahead, please, Kami, do this also without our incredible community partners. Our elected officials are really paying attention. So we've had RSVPs today from a lot of the offices of our elected officials. We thank County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava for sending so many of her representatives today. Mayor Francis Suarez has City of Miami staff with us today. We've got Florida Health Department. We've got all kinds of amazing civil servants, and our community partners. Oh, you know who you are, you brilliant cohort of team players. We love you and we thank you for getting this out to your very valued networks. You are the trusted ones who can share the information and the genius that our panelists and our keynote will share with us today. Talk about what we couldn't do anything without. We can't do anything without fuel. None of us can. Give Miami-Dade is a really great way to vote. Give us your confidence with your donations. So November 13th, you can start with early donation time. That helps our staff have our hearts beat a little bit more regularly in our chests. And November 16th is the big day. So thank you so much for fueling us. Fuel. Kaufman Rawson, pillar sponsor of this economic mobility pillar, our focus today. We thank you for all you do for us and for empowering women with your pillar sponsorship. And not only that, go ahead, let's see how that is seen. Look at these. Equal pay campaign. We've got some awful news for you all today. So pay attention. In about 45 seconds, we've got some news for you all. We need to keep on focusing all together on equal pay. We thank Ballyhoo Media for augmenting what Kaufman and Rawson does for us and gives us these fantastic billboards that are floating. I'm sure you'll see them on the beach. So, hey, Daddy, why are you still paying women less? We want an answer. And on we go to data and research, something that Kaufman Rawson also helps us to support as our greatest corporate sponsor. Viviana Alvarado Pacheco, please take it away and share the latest information that you have.
Thank you, Maria. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here today. As Maria mentioned, my name is Viviana Alvarado Pacheco. I am the Senior Research and Policy Manager at the Women's Fund, and I'm going to be presenting a snippet of our newly launched Gender Equity Index. What you see here is our economic mobility score. So the economic mobility score for 2021 was 61 points, which means that Miami-Dade is, or was at that point, 39 points away from reaching gender equity in economic mobility. What this means is that we use specific metrics that determine a person's economic mobility, like full-time employment, median full-time earnings, to decipher how far we are from reaching this gender equity. And part of the median full-time earnings in 2021, there was a 13% gender pay gap. However, and moving on to the news of the day, I guess. Next slide, please, Kami. The gender pay gap actually increased to 18% in 2021. This is based off of the newly released data from the American Community Survey based on that the Census Bureau does. If you want to find more information about economic mobility and how we can help improve economic mobility for women and girls in our community, please make sure to go to our policy paper. and it is here. You can scan the QR code. It goes directly to our Gender Equity Index page, and it has a lot more information. It's very rich. We have some policy recommendations. We have a lot more explanations on the metrics that we used and the barriers that still exist for women in our community. Thank you so much.
I'm seeing red, and I'm sure you all are as well. 18%, that red figure that Vivi just showed on that slide, should be emblazoned on all of our brains, not only today, but for this entire year forward, as we need to close that gap. It will benefit every single member of our community if we start getting this right. So, wonderful board member and leader is going to give us the framework for today's conversation and focus on women and finances. Selena Silverio, thank you so much for sharing your genius with us. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. Let me share my screen and make sure you all can see it before I continue. Let me know. Can you all see my
Good.
screen?
All good.
Okay, awesome. So as Mari was saying, my name is Selena Silverio. I'm the VP of Event and Marketing for Gamma Asset Management. I am thrilled to be here. So honored to be part of to be a board member for the Women's Fund that's making impactful changes right here in our community in Miami-Dade. And as you know, you've heard earlier today, the changes that we need to make going forward, and why, right? So today's topic is, as you can see, wealth building and retirement. I am a talker. I'm going to tell you that right now. I only have about 9 minutes. I'm pushing it, I know. But I want you to know that these are some tools that you can use to get your mind around wealth building and retirement for women. So with that said, the topics that I'm going to cover today, and I am also accompanied by an amazing group of panelists that will further the conversation. But gender and wealth education, talk a little bit about the Gender Equity Index policy paper that the Women's Fund wrote. It's filled with a lot of great information and data and research. Budgeting and saving, I mean, that's where we start, right? When we talk about wealth building, we got to start somewhere. Budgeting and saving, building financial security, and wealth and retirement planning. That's so important. And what does that take? We'll talk about that. And finally, investment tools for retirement readiness, and using what we've all been talking about this even before the call, artificial intelligence. It's all around us. How do we leverage that and really educate ourselves? So I'm gonna share some tools around that too. But as you heard, the Women's Fund is an amazing organization that makes impactful community changes here in Miami-Dade. And our mission is driven by 4 pillars, as you see here, which are the freedom from violence, leadership, health and well-being, and economic mobility. So we're focused on that pillar, economic mobility. And as you heard earlier today, changes that needs to make the gender gap increase to 18% in 2022. As of 2021, as you see here, it was, a woman earned 87 cents for every dollar a man made. So now that we hear that change that occurred, we have to do something about that. And education is key. In the paper, the policy paper, one of the other things that I want to point out to you is that the World Economic Forum's 2023 Gender Gap Report, it states that the global gender parity will take 131 years. I'm going to repeat that, 131 years. And that's why we're here. We want to share education. We want to empower women. And empower women really has a great effect on family and community. So the other thing that it says is that achieving gender parity and economic participation will take even longer. 169 years. And that's why we're here. We want to empower women. We want to do it through education, financial education, and giving you some information on how to get started. I know we have a wide audience, right? So we want to kind of give you the basics of it and build up from there. So the first thing that I'd like to share with you is some tools on budgeting and saving. Now, I can tell you, I've been in the financial industry for well over 20 years. I've conducted presentations surrounding financial wellness for the past, and creating content for the past 20 years. And one of the more popular topics is, well, Selena's, how do I start, right? So the first thing you need to do is really look at your finance, put it on pen to paper, I'm old fashioned, or an Excel spreadsheet or a budget sheet through your bank. But what does a healthy budget look like? Let's start there. There's a quick rule of thumb here that says the 50-30-20 rule, and it's 50% of your take-home pay should be spent on housing, groceries, and needed things that you need to pay. But within that 50%, 25% should be spent on rent or mortgage, meaning you want to live house happy, not house poor. But how do you do that, right? By creating a budget and knowing some guardrails. 30% should be spent on things we love, right? We need to live for today and tomorrow. So hobbies, eating out, and what have you. 20% should be spent on saving. And that 20%, 15 of it should go towards your retirement savings, 5% towards an emergency fund. So you should have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of your monthly pay. So these are some tools that you see here. Set clear financial goals, set up that budget, use a financial advisor if you can. Create a budget that's going to let you know what areas you need to improve upon. Start that emergency fund, right? I challenge you to do it. I challenge you to start with $1,000 if you haven't done so. Automate your savings. Put $50 towards your savings account and maybe the rest in your checking account. Save through your retirement plan, and we'll talk about that in a moment. You want to reduce unnecessary expenses. I can raise my hand. I've been going to Starbucks way too much, so I had to kind of cut back. Different ways to cut back. And last, but should be most, is we are women, right? So we want to make sure that we advocate for ourselves. We want to make sure that if you have a job, that you can talk to your boss or your manager and say, hey, I want to negotiate my salary. That's part of your wealth building. I want to also let you know strategically why you deserve that higher raise. Think about that. We never think about that. We always say, oh, I have a job. Yeah, but what job do you do? Are you bringing so much value that you're indispensable? Then there's a price to that. Our dear board member Marcia says, know your worth and add taxes. And I say, know your worth, add taxes, and pain and suffering if the job requires it. So increase that pay. But moving on, building financial security, it takes a few vehicles, right? So we need to address the retirement need for women. We live longer, and you'll see that on the paper. We live longer on an average. We live upwards of 80 something years old, 87, I think, or 89, that last time I checked. And men live, at the lower 80s. But we know that women live longer, right? So we have more reason to save. And we know that we carry things like taking care of, and I know many of you might have listened to the WLRN interview with our loved Mara. And she even said it. She's like, well, we are taking care of our elderly parents, elderly disabled, family members, our children. We have carried a bigger weight. We have to calculate that into our wealth building and retirement savings. Along with that, we have to understand investments, right? We have to understand difference between stocks and bonds, and I'll share that with you in just a minute in the next slide, and diversifying between those different asset classes. The importance of starting early. I always say start early, even if it's $5 or $10, start to save, and the compounding interest it can have when you're building wealth in your retirement plan, whether it's a 401k plan, an individual retirement account, and what are those? I'll explain that in the next slide. Furthermore, you need to know that building wealth also requires you to have a health insurance plan, and most importantly, a life insurance plan, whether it's term, which is just like the word says, 20, 30 year, because you never know. If you're the sole breadwinner in the relationship, what happens if you have kids or a spouse? You want to leave them with some sort of financial security. So seek information about that, whether it's term or whole life, and what really suits your financial need. And then the last thing I'll share with you is estate planning. I mean, I told you before, I've conducted presentations individual on all these tools, but estate planning, wills, seek a financial advisor or an attorney to create an estate planning plan for you, or a will, or even go on LegalZoom to do that yourself. If maybe, and I think it costs, I went on there, I think it costs like about $80. But these tools really help you frame your mind around, how do I build wealth and retirement, right? And again, if you have a financial advisor, you should learn these things so you can ask better questions, right? Or you can do it on your own to start. But to give you a little bit of a breakdown of stock versus bonds and even cryptocurrency. So a bond is a loan. It's a loan by a corporation or a government. Loans have an inverse relationship with interest rates. So interest rates go up, bond prices go down, and vice versa. There's a lot of vehicles that have bond investments within an IRA, a mutual fund, within a 401k plan. These mutual funds that have a group of bonds in them to invest as investments. Stocks. What are stocks? Ownership in a company. Coca-Cola, Google, you can buy all these. And nowadays, I think what I love about the new generation is you have a wealth of knowledge out there. I have an E-Trade account. I have my niece and nephews. I had a 5-year-old in a class I taught tell me, Salinas, I want to invest in stocks. I was just so impressed. Love the way that we have so much tools to use. But cryptocurrency, obviously, it's a lot more risky. And whenever you take on risk, you got to figure out your risk tolerance and your time horizon to retirement. Because as you see, their cryptocurrency are decentralized and typically operate on that technology, that blockchain technology. But as far as accounts, there's many. But I want to point out to you, an individual retirement account is something you can open up on your own, whether you go through any brokerage firm, Wells Fargo, or even Fidelity, Vanguard, and what have you. 401k, 403b plans are another form of retirement plan that's offered through your employer, right? And they offer investments, and you should understand how to understand and maximize those plans. You need some guidance there. But just two things I want to tell you about those type of retirements. You can do a pre-tax contribution or a Roth. A Roth, named after the senator from Delaware, is an after-tax contribution that the beauty of a Roth is that if you contribute $10,000, it earns $3,000. You don't have to pay taxes on the earnings. And there's some guardrails around that, but I wanted to share the basics. But now you know. It starts with the Women's Fund, this initiative with this index policy, the economic mobility policy paper. We know that there's a need for education and growth for women empowerment. Budgeting is what we need to start with, understanding those tools for wealth building and retirement and accounts. And I want to leave you with some other tools here. And you can screenshot this if you want, but you want to make sure that just like you have a financial checkup, or we should have a financial checkup each year, or a physical checkup, it's the same thing. So online retirement calculators, use them. If you have a 401k plan, all platforms, and I've worked with all the record keepers, Empower, Vanguard, Fidelity, Valley, you name them, they have that platform. I've worked with all of them. Use those calculators to see, hey, how am I doing? How am I faring? Am I saving enough when I retire at 65? And my longevity for women, my grandmother is 99 years old, 99. So I know I have to save more. And just like your father, Maria, all her wits about her. But professional advisor, you could seek one if you'd like. Use those retirement incomes, regular assessments, annual, at least once a year. As far as investment tools and calculators, just some tools that are, that do have women in mind. Some of them that you see there is a Fidelity Retirement Score, the Vanguard Retirement Nest Egg Calculator. I used to work at the Vanguard Group. I was actually one of the creators, before the Y2K, of all this content for them. Those are some of the tools you want to use. As far as resources and tools to improve your knowledge around AI, and again, there's a few here that I've posted, but Chatbox, there's Clio, there's Charlie AI, there's Personal Finance, AppsMint, there's AI-powered newsletters, but Bloomberg uses up-to-date real-time news and analysis using AI if you want to keep to date with the market too. Financial content recommendation, I would recommend to also use LearnLux. So these are some tools around educating us, real-time education that surrounds artificial intelligence. But just to end, and I just want to kind of recap everything. And I know that it's a lot of information, but I wanted to share it. But just remember, there's a gender wealth gap. We just heard that, the gender pay gap decreased to 18% last year. We know that financial empowerment is important for us women, right? How do we do that? We want to, create this positive impact in our community and our family. So we need to seek education, creating a budget, healthy savings account, wealth and retirement building, using those retirement or accounts, IRAs, 401k plans to start saving, using gender-focused tools. We know that we need to really hone in on, personally, as a woman, how do we save and what are our barriers, and using AI to leverage it all. You have to use those different apps and different tools. So with that, I want to conclude and take it away, Mario.
We thank you so much, Salinas. Everybody needs to remember that this is recorded and this will live on the Women's Fund Miami.org website, and our team can give you the link to our Impact Collaborative replay page. It will be up within 24 hours, also on our YouTube. So a lot of information. You can stop it and start it at your own leisure when you're at your desk planning, because it's a really good time of year to be planning and thinking about yourself. So think about us too. We want to hear from you. Please participate in our polls. You've seen Viviana. You know that she's collecting the data and that we use it. So thank you very much for not only participating in the polls, but also participating in the Q&A, because Salinas will be joining us at the end with our other 3 panelists. And then please do take just a second to quickly fill out the poll, the exit survey that will be in your inboxes as soon as this Impact Collaborative is done. So on we go to the impossible of introductions, self-introductions in 2 minutes or less, only made possible because we're asking each of our panelists to talk about why they're here, talk about the context of today's Impact Collaborative. So we welcome our first speaker, Natalie. We're thrilled to have you and Catalyst with us today. Take it away.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for having me. And welcome everyone in the chat. My name is Natalie. I am a small business support manager at Catalyst Miami. And I'm here today because in partnership with the Women's Fund, we believe that education is the seed of change, and at Catalyst, we really look at our community, and we ensure as a nonprofit that we're helping meet immediate needs, including some of these very issues that we're facing today, and help for a better future. So I'm very, very happy to be here with you today and engage in some much needed conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we have Penny up next. Penny, good morning. Oh, we have you on mute. We didn't mean to, but we do.
Me. Sorry.
Well,
Oh, well, hi, I'm Penny Gordon. I'm a senior financial advisor with First Horizon Advisors. First Horizon is a 160-year-old company. We're based in Tennessee, and we have banking centers in 12 states, including throughout Florida. And I'm here because we really pride ourselves in putting people first, and we're very focused on giving back to the communities that we serve in. We're happy to be supporters of the Women's Fund Miami-Dade and all the wonderful work that's done here. My team and I provide financial advice and solutions to a diverse group of clients. My niche is working with high net worth, but we work with people of all ages and at various stages of their working lives and all income levels. So wealth is relative, and having the privilege of making the most of our financial resources is something that every person should have the opportunity to do wherever she is in life. So in addition to being an investment advisor, I am a certified financial planner, and I strongly believe that the best path forward for gaining economic mobility starts with a financial plan. It is never too early to begin investing, and it's never too late to begin investing. Like Maria and Camila and the rest of this wonderful panel, I am passionate about the education, safety, and economic security of women and girls. And that's why I'm here. So I thank you so much for having me.
thank you so much for being here, Penny. We'll come back to you shortly. And we're going to go on to ask Michelle to introduce herself. You take this very seriously as well.
I do. As a former Wall Street executive that was licensed, Series 7 licensed, Series 66 licensed, and worked on trading floors, I understand the importance of women investing and preparing for their wealth. So a little bit about me. I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur. That means that I have several businesses. So I'm a real estate investor, but I also have a business consulting agency called Fama Agency, and recently created my own signature program called Style Your Business that helps people build businesses or get unstuck in their business with a digital program. My niche is working with 6 to 8 figure law firms and real estate brokerages, and I help them align themselves with their target audience. I help them elevate their business strategies with all that knowledge that I bring from Wall Street so that they can make profits faster. I've been featured in Yahoo Finance, Business Insider, and several other publications. This topic is near and dear to my heart because I know what it is to be in a position where I know there's more out there, but I don't know how to seek it. To tell you more about me, I was born into entrepreneurship, so that speaks to my risk tolerance. And having had a career for 20 years on Wall Street, I've understood how money works. And so I bring that knowledge to the small business owner. In my career, I've bought and sold several businesses, which is not an easy feat, but it is doable. I'm a single mom, so I'm everything. So if I'm able to do it, I know others can do it as well. I'm proudly a business consultant for the SBA, and I also offer fractional CMO services to several different law firms. And I'm really excited to be here. I can't wait to delve into this topic.
Well, we're so excited to have all three of you here today. As you can see, Village Square, we have something for everyone today. So we're looking especially to you, Catalyst Miami, to give us some leadership in what you're seeing, what we can do with the greater community and encouraging upward and economic mobility, specifically for people who identify as female or gender expansive. So Natalie, please take it away.
Yes, thank you so much. We want to talk about the invisible load that a lot of women are facing today. And when I say the invisible load, it's the uniqueness of being a woman. I think everyone on this chat can agree that it is a powerful thing to be a woman. And one of those things is we wear multiple hats. And hats off to you, Michelle, amazing, what you shared with us. That invisible load requires you to be a mother, it requires you to be a caretaker, and it requires you to do a lot of things. I saw recent data, it's like by the time you wake up, you've already made about 300 or more decisions before you even got out of bed on how you're gonna run your day. The uniqueness of what we're facing today is that I really want to shed light on, you do not have to change who you are as a woman. You do not have to choose between being the mother or the boss babe. You really do not have to. So one of those issues is like we want to remove the barriers of women having to choose. We want to provide them the tools that they can be exactly what they need to be and show up for exactly who they need to show up without having to choose. Because the issue is, if they do choose, and a lot of times when we do choose to build their family, we found the data that women live longer. So they're dying poor, they're dying with zero wealth because at one point in time they had to make a choice. They don't have to. It's not an and or. It should be that you can do what you need to do and still build wealth where you are. So the issues we're really facing right now is how do we meet women where they are? What are the tools we're providing them? What are some of the barriers? We're removing our systemic things that we're really tackling to make sure that women can be women and also create the wealth and have social mobility to impact the wealth around them and leave what they need to leave for their families. Some of these amazing tools that you all have shared about how to build wealth, you can do that now. So we're just trying to do this through leadership opportunities, and the Women's Fund, you all are kicking it with the data and all of the amazing opportunities that you all are giving us to be able to tackle some of these things. Personally, I work a lot with many of my clients, if not the majority of them, are women, because women are the fastest growing entrepreneurs in the United States, and they carry a lot of power, financial and economic power within what they're doing. And their businesses are really bringing in a lot of wealth to communities. So we're really trying to meet them and giving them the flexibility through entrepreneurship, education, and leadership opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natalie. A catalyst. What would this community do without Catalyst? Thank you, thank you, thank you, your whole team. Penny, please share.
Well, what I am seeing in my role as a financial advisor is a pretty consistent difference between the way men and women interact with their finances. There's also a gap in how men and women are equipped to prepare for their futures. And the data that Selena just shared and that you share on your website, it supports this. Women are still not paid the same. We're not paid what men earn in similar roles. Women are not afforded the same opportunities as men. Yet we live an average of about 5 years longer than men. So we need to stretch our money further and longer in retirement. We also are likely to need some form of long-term care, and that can be an emotional and financial burden if we're unprepared. Again, recapping, women tend to be the caregivers in families. So it's up to us. We're going to be the one that are likely to take a break from the workforce to care for our children or for our aging parents. And even if that break is just for a few years, this gap in income can stall our ability to save and can even move us backwards, especially if we're having to dip into our savings just to make ends meet. I am married with 2 children. They're both college age now. And I can't even imagine how challenging it must be for a single mother to raise kids while being responsible for everything else in the household. I see women juggling so much, and it can be extremely stressful. And we all know what we'd like to do. We all know what we need to do, but there are only so many hours in a day. So what happens when we get too busy or overwhelmed? Well, we get rid of what we can. And so it means that we put ourselves and our own needs and postpone those things until tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And before you know it, weeks or months or years have gone by and we still haven't done what we need to do for us. So that's what I see as an advisor. That's what I see in life. But I do have some suggestions that I know can help, and I will go into a few of those a little later.
Fantastic. Well, that's what we like. The next section even more. The what can we do? The empowerment part. Michelle, tell us what you're seeing.
So I can reflect on my own life and observations that I've made just from being on Wall Street and also working with women in helping them build their businesses. And I'll also speak from first experience. The gender gap, which we all agree, right? It is pretty significant. It's an issue and it can't be ignored. And as Selena's mentioned, women, as of 2022, they are earning 82 cents for every dollar a man earns, according to the Wall Street Journal. This wage gap not only affects our immediate earnings, but also has long-term consequences for our retirement savings. One of the consequences of the gender wage gap is the investment gap. So many of us tend to be more risk averse, often prioritizing our family's immediate needs over planning for the future. And we tend to be very cautious and take this cautious approach that leads us to make conservative investment choices. Except maybe when we discover a favorite, outfit at Zara. That's when we might throw caution to the wind. We've all been there, right? So the reality is that women often bear the responsibility of caregiving. And I see that often with women who are building businesses. They have to pick and choose, and often that doesn't allow them to build their business at the speed and the level they would like, right? But it's not just about carrying the babies, it's also caring for family members, right? Our family members need us. On Wall Street, it's all too common to see women face skepticism when they go on maternity leave. It happened to me, it happened to many of my friends. There's this unfair assumption that they might be less productive now that they're mothers, which leads to more tough choices. Do I take a higher paying position, or do I stay where I am so that I have the freedom, I'll put that in quotes, the freedom to care for our families without added stress? Another challenge I've experienced and I've seen is the lack of education. Even though I was on Wall Street, I still had to seek that education. It wasn't readily available to me, right? So the lack of seeking education in managing your finances and exploring different investment strategies for building wealth and securing our retirement. That access to financial education and resources can make a world of a difference in our financial journey. You know, in the face of these challenges, it's essential that we as women advocate for equal pay, that we prioritize retirement savings and seek financial education to make informed decisions. We have the power to rewrite the narrative and build an equitable financial future for ourselves and for the generations to come. And I have some tools as well to share on how we can do that, and I'll share that as well later.
It is November 2nd, 2023. We still have almost 2 full months to get it together and to take leadership in our own financial lives. Tell us, please give us some tools. Please take it away. Natalie.
Wow, there's so many tools for little time. But I will definitely lean on my colleague, co-panelists. But one of the first things that I want to push it, as a former educator, the best tool is education. Knowledge capital is one of those things that you can transfer from generation to generation, okay? I know about the multiple lessons that were carried from generations from the women in my family personally. And as we tackle something systemic, we have to use very structured ways of doing it and also some non-traditional ways of doing it. But I would say by far, one of the best ways to do this, tackle some of these things, is the education. Some more practical things we can do. I know there's a lot of us who are here who are part of greater networks, such as the Women's Fund and other nonprofits and entities and institutions, is investing in those non-traditional ways. I am from Haiti. I am Haitian. My family and I immigrated to the United States. And one of the things that I knew before I even opened up my first bank account in the United States was lending circles. Okay, they are referred to by multiple different things, but lending circles, very non-traditional, but is culturally appropriate for the women that we are serving within South Florida. And we can bring this type of, I would say, this type of wealth, you know, building within the community to our community as a whole, okay? So lending circles is one way, non-traditional. And a more formal way that people have really been exercising in cities throughout the United States are worker cooperatives, okay? So I mentioned that women do not have to choose or change who they are, but we should meet them where they are through the flexibility of owning a business to build wealth, something that they can carry from generation to generation. And getting together and owning something that you build as a community is beautiful. When there's power in having multiple people get together as a community. So women do not have to carry the burden alone. The network of support within their own community, I think of, is one of the best ways to do it. So very quick recap, education and really approaching this in traditional and non-traditional ways to allow people to build wealth how they've traditionally been building wealth with assistance. And I want to leave off with this one. This is a multifaceted problem, so we have to approach it on a multifaceted level. Policy, we have to advocate for some of these things. There's absolutely no reason why in 2023 that gap should have increased 18%. There's absolutely no reason. So when those policies are being placed on the table, and if there's no policy attacking this issue, we need to make sure that it's heard. I know a little bit earlier on in this conversation, women are connected to everyone in the community, okay? So if there's an issue impacting women, there's an issue impacting everyone. So definitely we cannot leave that multifaceted approach of all levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Catalyst. And, you know, we share that the Women's Fund talks about retrofitting systems or building systems to benefit everyone in Miami-Dade. So there are a lot of getting the policies in place is retrofitting, because a lot of policies were not initially designed correctly for all. So we thank all of you are here, the YWCA, so many of you are here today who are working on this, on policy advocacy for the entire community. So thank you all so much. Penny, take it away.
Well, I'm sure some of you here have seen the movie Barbie, and even, and even though it's a fantasy film, there are a lot of underlying messages in it. And there's one specific part in the movie where America Ferrera talks about womanhood. You've probably seen the clip being posted around social media because it rings so true for a lot of women. She starts with a comment that it's literally impossible to be a woman. I know that I feel like that some days. And for my own self-preservation and sanity, I make it my daily mission to focus on what I can control. So I can advocate for the things I can change, which is what Natalie was just talking about. And I work hard to ignore all of the rest, all of the noise around things that I can't control. So economically speaking, what can I control? Well, I can control my money. When we take control of our money, it's very empowering. So first, it's important for us to get organized. The first step in every financial plan begins with fact finding. So I challenge you to take a few minutes this weekend and ask yourself questions and write them down in one place, a single notebook. So where are your most important documents? Things like your birth certificate, and your social security card, your insurance policies and wills and estate planning documents. Do you have them in a single place where you can easily access them while still keeping them safe from things like fire and flood and theft? What are your financial resources? How much money do you have available to spend every month? Are you saving? And do you have a process in place so that it's a kind of a no-brainer, where it's a systematic way that it gets taken and put away before you even notice it? And do you have a budget? One of the best gifts we can give ourselves is creating a budget to understand where we are spending our money. Are we spending most of our money on needs, or are we spending too much on wants? There's nothing wrong with living in the moment and treating ourselves, but are we managing debts and credit wisely? And are we paying ourselves first? Another thing I know that I can control is my knowledge. It used to be that women had very limited access to a financial education. I know when I was growing up, we didn't have anything about finance in high school. We didn't really learn much about money. But today we have a lot of opportunities, primarily because of the internet. And I recommend that you take a few minutes each day and work on becoming a knowledgeable investor. And you don't have to be an expert. Just spend a little time each day learning the basic concepts. You can listen to podcasts while you're driving. You can read books, search through the financial websites, some of those resources that were shown a little while ago, or simply just ask someone like a financial advisor. Women do tend to be more conservative investors, and we don't do as well over longer time frames because of that. But sometimes this is just because we don't want to take a chance on something we don't understand. So we can control what we choose to learn about, and the more investment knowledge we can gain, the better our chances of making good decisions. If you haven't already started to save, I highly recommend that you start with a retirement account. There are lots of different vehicles that Selena showed us to help you save for your future on a tax-deferred basis. If you're employed and your employer offers a 401k plan, then I recommend that you first take advantage of that, because many times a portion of that is matched by your employer. So if you're not contributing, you're leaving money on the table. So pay yourself first is a wonderful strategy to give to your future self. Your contributions, they come right out of your paycheck. You're consistently adding. And so you're taking advantage of the ups and downs in the market. And the time and power of compounding are really your best friends. You might also consider the Roth IRA, funded with after-tax money. It does grow tax deferred, but one of the best benefits, in my opinion, of the Roth IRA is that after you have it established for 5 years or more, it can be used as an emergency fund. And I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about that, but you can pull out what you've contributed without any penalty after 5 years, as long as you don't take the growth. So I know I'm going over my 3 minutes, but just another quick piece of advice is um, we really need to advocate for ourselves in our workplace and in our relationships. Know your value and have confidence in your ability. Be respectful, but ask questions. In my own career, there are really not a lot of female financial advisors, but I found that by asking questions and being what my boss calls tenacious, I can feel a better sense of control and bring about fairness and positive changes for myself and my family. Uh, Finally, I do have some handouts. I haven't been able to show you slides, but I do have some things I'm happy to share with you by email if you'd like. One is a link from the Financial Planning Association of Miami that lists really helpful resources. And the other is a short workbook from First Horizon that can help you get organized and move forward with a financial plan for your future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you can share anything in the chat as well, and in your email as well, if you'd like to. Michelle, give us those tools, please.
Yes. So I would say, and I think the slide was up previously, but it's really important for us to acknowledge that as women, we get so busy with all the things. And so I think the first thing we need to do is to really encourage ourselves to do the deep work, to look within so that we can uncover those internal and external factors that are keeping us from building wealth and preparing for retirement. So let's get into how we can take action, right? So the first thing that we can do is level up our communication skills. Honing in our communication skills is the key to closing the gender gap. Effective communication helps us open doors to better opportunities, salaries, among other valuable benefits. Believe that you're worth what you're asking for. I've struggled with this myself, and what's helped me get through this is building my confidence. You can better prepare by using online resources like Skillshare or Coursera. Both have free courses on learning how to negotiate. That's so important for us. I feel men are just more natural with negotiating skills, but we tend to be so afraid to ask for our worth. So build those negotiating skills. It's a beneficial skill that you can use at work, or even if you decide to start your own business. And if you do decide to start your own business, or are stuck in your business, I do have a tool that I created. It's called Style Your Business. It's a business planner and journal that can guide you on the journey, and you can find it on Amazon. I'll add the link in a few minutes. Another tool is eliminating our scarcity mindset, right? Let's just banish the scarcity mindset and recognize that women are inherently resourceful. Let's use our strengths to build wealth and prepare for retirement. We excel at making the most out of limited resources. So to shift our mindset towards abundance, that's when we can start setting clear financial goals. Confronting your financial numbers head on and getting a grip on your risk tolerance. For instance, you may not be ready to dive into real estate investing with a substantial down payment, but there are other accessible options like fundrise.com that allows you to invest in real estate investment trusts, which is a company or trust that owns and operates and finances income-producing real estate properties. They offer a way for you to gain exposure to the real estate market and generate rental income and potential benefit from property value appreciation. And the beauty about Fundrise is that you can start with as little as $10. Seek financial advisors like Penny. Penny mentioned that she works with high net worth individuals, but the knowledge is the same, and she can totally help you and gear you towards another financial advisor that can help you within her organization. Women have a remarkable talent for community building. We do, right? We create life, we create communities. So seek out your tribe, those who have achieved financial success or possess financial literacy. Create a community where everyone can openly ask questions and share insights. Networking can uncover opportunities to boost your income. And as an entrepreneur, I can attest that I've learned the most from those who know more than I do. So be open to asking the questions. This was possible for me because I wasn't afraid to discuss my challenges and seek answers. There's a quote that I share with people often, and that's the most vulnerable person in the room is the most powerful. When it comes to women building wealth and getting ready for retirement, think of vulnerability as your secret weapon. It's about being real and honest about the financial hurdles you might face, like the wage gap or career breaks. When you open up about those challenges, you create connections and support networks. Remember, vulnerability isn't a sign of financial weakness. It's a badge of courage. It's a way to learn, adapt, and find opportunities. So, ladies, I don't shy away from discussing financial vulnerabilities ever, because it's your path to financial strength and it's a way to secure retirement. So I hope we can all stay connected.
We will. But actually, one of the polls, actually, you know, Gummy and the team will put you in touch if you answered in the polls that you wanted to be connected with somebody directly. And please, everybody who wants to be connected, use the chat and share it there. We've got 3 questions in the Q&A, and I'm going to start with those. We're going to ask Salinas to join us right away. And the first one is dealing with stocks and bonds in the market. So Vero is asking, how do you compensate when the market falls? I started investing in stocks in 2020 and became pretty good at it, increased up to 25% gains at the beginning.
So who asked that question, Vero? So the important thing about planning for your retirement.
We have an audio issue. We have an
Yeah.
audio issue. Yeah, Salinas, it's coming from you.
Oh, sorry, me.
Yeah, it's very bad audio, actually.
Yeah. Is it better now?
No.
Huh?
I'm gonna let Penny take it.
Okay. Is it there with me? Right.
You're fine.
So,
Your audio is fine.
so Vero, you know, one of the most important things that we should do with our investments when we're saving is diversifying, so that, you know, we're going to have ups and downs. There's always going to be something. You should have something in your portfolio that is driving you crazy all the time. There should be something that is doing well, something that is not doing well. One of the biggest mistakes that I've seen is what people sell at the bottom and they move to another asset class completely, do a complete change by chasing. For example, you're saying, I wish I'd invested in real estate instead. Absolutely, real estate is great. A portion of your savings, putting that in real estate is important, but not all of it. And the same, I would say, for any one company, any stocks, any bonds. We saw that in 2022. People were invested completely in bonds because that was supposed to be the safe place to go. And in 2022, stocks and bonds did poorly. So the best way to combat that and to kind of just ride it out is to diversify and have a bit of everything and always keep a long-term view. If you feel that you're going to need something sooner than 5 years or more, then you should really keep it more safe. But for a longer term investment, the best thing to do is diversify. That's my recommendation.
I agree with that. Can you hear me now?
Sorry, it's really bad, Selena. It's not just a little bit bad. It's like a monster ate your audio. So, Michelle, did you have something you wanted to add there? Maybe you want to post something in the chat, Salinas. Sorry.
I totally agree with Penny. It's really important that you understand what your goals are. That's, you know, the first thing that you learn on Wall Street. It's what are your goals? Like, is your goal to, you know, set aside funds for your children to go to college? Because then that's a long-term game plan, right? Is your goal, are you risk adverse because you feel that you're young and you can take risks and you can go into the, the NFT crypto world, right? But what I would say is balance is super important. And also don't get excited about shiny new things. If someone says that they're making tons of money in Bitcoin and NFT, it is your responsibility to vet those investments, because what may be working for them and what their risks, are can be totally different for you.
Natalie, do you have anything for people who are really just starting, because not everybody has a big stock portfolio? How about
Yeah.
the rest of
Yes.
us?
So honestly, after educating yourself, just like Michelle said, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. I would say on my own personal the wealth building and investing, the best luck I've had is diversifying in multiple different things. Meaning I have a high yield saving account. I would say anyone who really wants to start and see the magic of compounding, go ahead and open a high yield savings account. That's the easiest thing you can do. It's safe. And with that, you can start learning about other things and get you a mutual fund, REITs, and all that good stuff. But education and something you can do today, a high yield savings account. So,
fantastic. That's a great one. That's a great one. We're going to go quickly with the next question. We just got a couple minutes. I've heard that you can use a life insurance policy to increase your wealth while living. Is that true? And if so, how do you do that? Who wants to take that? Sorry, Selena. Sorry.
I will just like to say about that. There are ways to use life insurance to increase your wealth, but in my opinion, life insurance is a protection. And so I believe that when you want to build wealth, there are better ways to do that, and that life insurance should really just be used for protection.
Yeah.
And can you share any book recommendations about financial planning for beginners or online resources? Let's add to that. Who'd like to? Everybody want to share a resource if you have one?
Elevist is a really good resource. They are a financial planning firm that focuses on the woman. And they understand our struggles and our strengths, right? So I would say them. For financial planning for beginners, I don't have a book per se, but I like to go on Reddit sometimes because there are some discussions happening out there with, experts, thought leaders in the space, as well as, novices. So it's nice to see the range in questions and experience the answers, which is great.
Natalie, do you have any recommendations?
I don't have a specific book. I am an avid reader. I would say one book that a lot of you probably might have heard of is Rich Dad Poor Dad, in regards to really transforming the way you look at wealth, finances. Has been a really, really good book. But I read a lot about online, honestly, Google, just reading. If I find something out on social media and I'm like, this is too much, let me go ahead and read it. We have a lot of good resources. And if you can, I think everyone should take just a finance class at your local, community college. I know Miami-Dade has offered some great resources to take it for free if you can. But besides that, those books, and your public library has a ton of books in the finance the section of the library. So please go to your local library.
Right. And even your banks and a lot of financial institutions have lots of rich information online. You don't necessarily have to sign up with that particular institution to read a lot of the great free materials. and even Finance for Dummies and Accounting for there's all kinds of really great stuff. And I'm a big fan of the public library. You don't even have to buy it. You can, take 2 or 3 or 4 books out and then buy the one that you want to write in the margins. So this has been just amazing. You can volunteer with us and join our Impact Agent Volunteer Corps. Camila, who organizes these amazing impact collaboratives, also organizes the Impact Agents, and you just want to hang out with Kami. I'll just tell you. So please join us. And another way to join us is, again, to fuel our mission. What we call our grand mission is really our giving circle. For anybody who can, give us $83.33 a month, to add up to $1,000 a year or more, if you're capable, you're really fueling our mission. So our giving circle really is our grand mission honor roll. Thank you each and all for your names who are there. And almost everybody has a friend who could join with $83.33 a month. So we thank you for considering that. And we want each and all of you to please join us same time, same place next month. This is going to be a really interesting one. We're going to do leadership catalysts. So we're going to talk about 2 things: the power of mentorship, and I bet you everybody who spoke here today has had great mentors, whether formal or informal, and board service. So we're going to ask some of the board members of some of the organizations that foment mentorship for women and girls in our community to join us and talk about both of those things. So please join us, keep on giving back, but today give to yourselves, each and all. Focus on yourselves and your finances. Thank you all for being here. Have a great, great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
And Liz,
Bye.
thank you so much. Thank you, Selines. We're so sorry that the gremlins got your audio.
Aw.
Yes, I know, but thank you. It was
Now
amazing.
it's fine. Now you're fine. Now you're
All
back.
right.
You are a great group of ladies, and I think it's so, I really enjoyed everything you all said. I think it's great how we had such overlap. Just goes to show you how important those things are. So thanks. It's really nice to meet you. I hope to meet you in person. And we can-
Yes, me
Wow.
too.
Power of the Purse, April 26th.
Yes, I have it on my calendar.
Calendar.
I'm going to be there. I will be there. Okay.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Selena is terrific.